what is the word?
So,
So, up to English language, this word came into this dictionary in 13th century English language. Up to 18th century, 500 years, this word was used. S-O-N-N. You will be amazed to learn same word for S-U-N sun and S-O-N sun. That shows the mind. Both are the source of power. Both are life. Both are the future. Just as without the physical sun, there is no life. So without this sun, biological sun, there is no life. Both are precious, invaluable. Same, the question which you raised, I am thankful to you, the same mindset in Arabic language. I know a bit Arabic also. Instinctively they say banin, bani, ibn, the male vocabulary comes in. And you see, what is at the back of all this? Economy. I am not a Marxist, but it is pure economics which controls language. You will hear me out. That shapes the mind. Look, agrarian economy is there in England. In Arabia, what kind of economy is there? War or plunder. There is no agriculture. Indian context, agrarian economy. Agriculture based. Agriculture based, 4 o'clock early in the morning go or rice plants mein watering karo. In the heat of this April, May, even if your daughter wants, she can't do that. Physically not possible. So economy demands sons. So they are given this preferential treatment. Now this professor has to take interview for assistant professor, girl, as competent as a boy. He will be the first person to choose her. Why? She has the same mental caliber which a boy has. No physical, no manual, this work is needed. So, because it was an agrarian way of life, because this physical strength, physique, that was needed, that was called for, and that's why I have not made any study, but at least I know about Islam and Muslim culture and Western culture. In Hinduism also, the sons, especially the eldest son, getting in terms of property, getting in terms of this funeral rite and everything, because it is the sense of continuity, and it was not just misogyny. Misogyny is that hatred or looking down upon women. It was not that, it was something practical, isn't it? There is property, there is name, fame, house, everything. Father dies, who is to continue it? Naturally the son. So the son, the eldest son, so he gets more share in property or he gets more importance. So this is how life goes on. Now the way of life has changed thanks to this digitalization and all that. So these things are not there, but these economic reasons were there for that. Now let me come back to this I. I stand for instruments.
I have one observation about what you said, like the sons are supposed to go and water all the paddy fields and things like
Yes.
that. But when it comes to the harvest season, it's the ladies who go and take the harvest.
Right.
I don't know here, but at least in Kerala, all the cutting.
It is all right, yes, but you see, that's donkey work, isn't it? I'm sorry to say, but anybody, that is dispensable. But that job is indispensable, isn't it?
And again the son goes to market.
Pardon?
The son takes the harvest to market.
Oh yes, right from sowing, tilling, and then preparing the field for that. And at the end of the day, when you need this harvesting, you are absolutely right. And that's why in Arab culture also, let me tell you very frankly, this in Arab or Muslim culture, all this menial or what you say physical job that was done by women. They had to go out, isn't it? And but because of this feudal culture, Bukhari Sahib will agree with me, isn't it? With money, with empire, possessiveness. So possessiveness about gold, silver, same about women also. So to seclude them, to keep them inside, to cut off their social relations, nothing to do with Islam, because in Islam allows, it permits, but and that is the tragedy. Under the name of religion, under the name of culture, under the name of this customs, women or any weaker section of society, they have always been exploited. That is the that's the history. All right, coming back to this communication point. Next point is I. I is instrument. Communication varies. Communication changes from instrument to instrument. Pen and paper, and now she will just use her smartphone. Message, language will be same, or different. Well, there are physical reasons for that, isn't it? Technological reasons for that. The keyboard and the hard work, and then the abbreviation, the kind of English he or I will use. That at one level it is not English, isn't it? Before B and 4 as a digit. Spelling wise, grammar wise, that's not a word, isn't it? Because B, C, Z, everyone writes in messages. So, written language is different, spoken is different. Spoken, one-to-one, how are you, sir? And telephone, different. WhatsApp, different. So, this language, communication, style, presentation, that is again variable. It varies from, it depends also on which particular medium, which particular instrument you are using. Next is N. N stands for norm. Norm means manners, social etiquette. I was fortunate enough through this UGC and all that. I spent a long time in England. And look here, this is one example of norms. I'm staying there for 6-7 years, and I need bread, so every morning I enter a corner shop, young white girl standing there, and you can see the grey hair, and not now, but even 20 years ago, I was an old person. Grey hair, fundamentalist Muslim, isn't it? Open the door, she said, darling, what can I do for you? Look here, if I don't know that darling in that context, I'll look at it. So you see here, this is a matter of norms. They, as a matter of any social greeting, they would address each other darling. But somehow, because it's transferred culture, we think darling in a very romantic or cheap sense. Another example, I just gave you the example of son. Any British mother or father, if he is to express his overflowing love for his son and daughter, he will call his child my sunshine. And now, in Indian context, the sunshine is a curse for 8 months, at least in North India, 8 months in a year from March till September. No one would like to have anything to do with sunshine. We would like to have AC, isn't it? Same physical, natural thing because of climatic reasons, norms changing. One more example, and I don't, that shows, even now I was outraged, but it is a bit, what I say, not very pleasing to hear, but just as an example, I have to tell you, in 1990, I was there in a conference on the British poet, right? London College. One of the participants, Mrs. Moore, she arrives. Just look at this. It is a matter of norms, nothing to do. She arrives later, we are there, 5-6 persons are there. She does the registration, shakes hands. That's again a matter of norms, isn't it? I am Mrs. Moore, I am from this Philadelphia. I am Mrs. Moore, but I do commit adultery. Look at this. I am Mrs. Moore, but I do commit adultery. What is she doing? She is trying to break the ice. Just as introduction night, ragging, we try to be very friendly just in order to break the barrier. Naturally, she didn't mean any such thing, nor was she of that type. Not at all, absolutely not. But it is just a matter of norms. In our context, it's something shocking, isn't it? And first of all, you won't believe what you are hearing, isn't it? What is she saying? But it is no more than a joke, isn't it? She was just trying to be naughty, or she was trying to make you feel that don't feel any kind of formality and feel free to mix up, of course, in an academic or in a friendly way. But to say that, she used that norm. So norms vary from culture to culture. Please be careful about it. People are very sensitive. Isn't it?
Even when you said the darling word used in English, it's typically used by ladies only in a shop.
Exactly.
And they will never use it. The same thing, if you go to US, you go to a shop or something, if they think that you are slightly lost, that lady will come and, hi dear, there it is.
Exactly, dear or darling, even but from our Indian context, some lady, how do you do dear? You say, there is a charm, there is a So, what I said, cultural, everyone has a universe in his mind, a cultural universe, and especially when you are interacting, even it's nothing to do with only UK, USA, within Indian context, isn't it? When these course participants, HRD course participants, they visit, and people from South, they are so modest. The moment they reach near my house, they will take off their shoes, which is beyond me. What is that? We don't have any such thing. It is a matter of their culture or their cultural practices. So each language, each society has its own norms. Please try to observe that. In English, for example, some of the things are very strange. They will never use any title of respect. Shakespeare. We would say Gandhi ji, Farah ji, isn't it? Ji, it comes instinctively, isn't it? If any Swami Dayanand is there, if we say Dayanand, it might sound as disrespectful, unless we say Swami, or we use some honorific titles. Same in Muslim culture, a long list of honorary titles are used. So it is all matter of what we say, norms or cultural tradition. So from communication point of view, Professor Agarwal will endorse that point. It is something very important, isn't it? Language use, because you don't mean that the other person is getting offended, isn't it? He is getting furious, his blood is boiling, he thinks that you have done something. That's happened to us. Sometimes I go along with my wife and in England and English males. They are not, nothing wrong with them. Instinctively they would try to shake hands with her, which she doesn't. And both of them, they feel offended. She feels hurt, and that gentleman thinks, what, I was trying to be kind and nice to her, and in a friendly way I was trying to shake hands, but somehow she has been trained or brought up in an atmosphere where you don't mix with other men, isn't it? And having any physical contact. Not that always shake hand leads to something indecent or it leads to something immoral, but it is a matter of norms there. So in language there are, in communication, if you don't address someone properly, if you don't sign the letter properly, if you don't conclude with a polite note, and especially with the senior positions which you are going to assume in future, then you have to be.
Yes, they call my first name.
Yeah.
Not by the first name.
Yes, first name, that's again that very matter of norms.
Yeah.
I did my second PhD from there, and my supervisor used to call me Abdul, and I always, and he insisted his name was Vincent
Yeah.
Nevi.
The child.
I will always say Professor Nevi. He say, what is this,
Yes.
Professor Nevi? Call me Vincent, and not even Vincent, the nickname Vince. Call me Vince, just Vince, which I could never do in 3 years because of my Indian training. I had studied here. I know the kind of respect, but they have different standards of respect, isn't it? There's a tea machine there. You take your tea, he will take your, and that's what life goes on. Yeah, thankful to you for mentioning this point. This is a very this point will strike you when you have visited most of the places already. But as a student of English, let me draw your attention to that this cultural values or cultural norms, they vary, and these should be observed. And finally, the last point is, G is just a general point. This is the last word. It is actually a French word, though in Indian English it can become generic, but it means the kind or type. Language, as you know, Professor, it is of creative type, isn't it? Novel, drama, poetry, prose, and then there is language of non-creative type, scientific, isn't it? And then there is, even within science, there is report, there is abstract, there is presentation, seminar presentation, there is formal type of language, informal, the kind of language which you use for writing a journal. You don't use it for telling it to your mate, isn't it? So, language has many faces, many types. Creative language is different from non-creative, even within non-creative. Newspapers, they have their own language, isn't it? And the legal language is different, technology language is different. I'm not talking about terminology, of course, terminology will be different, but even the presentation and communication is different. And if you use this technical language of any particular profession, if you read that, you will think that it is not even English, it is some other language, isn't it? So many, what we call it as jargon, isn't it? Jargon is a very special, complicated use of terms. Terms are simple. Nanotechnology is a term, but when you are discussing or explaining that, then just now as we were discussing with Professor Agrawal, this sociolinguistics, statistics, discourse analysis, textual analysis, a person who does not have this linguistic background, he will say, what is this? Analysis is fine, but what is this discourse? What is this discourse analysis? What is this connectives, connectors, linkers, isn't it? Hundreds of, each profession has its jargon. So my point is that language is something fascinating, something complex, something multifaceted, something intricate. Please be sensitive, be careful. No matter how experienced you are, no matter how senior you are, no matter how important, and actually it becomes an additional responsibility if an undergraduate commits a mistake of spelling or grammar or usage, that will go unnoticed, isn't it? But if the director of a center or the dean or the chairman, if he says or writes something which is not acceptable English, which is not standard English, then it becomes embarrassing. It becomes a bit, yeah, it becomes not serious, but It is, you have, yeah, embarrassing is the right word for that. Please be careful. I don't want to be at this, like a high school teacher here instructing you in English, but this is my responsibility at this student of English to draw your attention to this point that it is something delicate. Please think about it. And learning, I don't have to say, is a lifelong process. And there are now, we are very fortunate, we are born in an era of this internet. Literally, there are hundreds of software search engines. I can give you a list about, not spelling is a very minor thing, even the spelling corrections already there. Now there are so many things related to, yes, usage, to synonyms, to thesaurus, to improving your, editing your own language. If you write a draft, just put it there in that software. In 30 seconds you get a very decent, at least it will not have any kind of grammatical or presentations. You don't have to send it to any English professor or consult him. Not that I can share with you those.
Yes,
software.
English processors are now softwares.
Pardon?
English processors are now for a software.
Yes,
There's a
yes.
program now called Grammarly.
Grammarly, yes.
You can just enter it and it will give you all the suggestions. You want this
Yes.
word, this.
This word, exactly.
Every
Yes.
time that asks the, please add the or something, then
Yes.
there are some of them.
Use of articles is very
Yes.
problematic, isn't it?
Yes.
This da, a, and an, isn't it? And da is so, what do I say, difficult to master is, I remember my supervisor, I will give him my chapter for correction. Naturally, he will return it to me marked in red with at least 10 places in the whole chapter, adding the word da, isn't it? Which I would religiously follow. Next time when I show it him again, he will strike them off, put another 10 da. Then one day I asked him, I said, what is this? Tell me what is the this secret word, what is the magic spell? He said, I don't know, even no English man does. Whatever comes to your mind, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what language is. Most of them are rule-based, but there are some exceptions. I will just give you an example. My son, generally we say that for any noun we need article, and but I will say my son goes to school. I go to the school, but my son goes to school. Any public place, school, airport, market, railway station, port, where you go for its main use, primary purpose. A Christian goes to church, not to the church. I go to mosque. I go to one particular mosque. According to grammar, it should be a church or the church. You get me? There are hundreds of churches. I cannot go to each one of them. At one particular time, I will go to only one church. So, according to grammar, I should say the church. But this is usage, a special use of language that that's why he said, my son, 8-9-year-old, he goes to school, but I go to this. We were just discussing da is used for nouns. And nouns are common noun, proper noun. Proper noun is proper noun, properly. Yes, proper noun. But we say we need the negi for discussing, for solving this problem. Suppose he enjoys the reputation as a problem-solving person in his university, so we need a negi. We need another negi. We need the negi. Nelson Mandela was the Gandhi in South Africa. In this day of this corruption in public places, we need a Gandhi. Someone like Gandhi. Gandhi is the proper person, proper name, but here he is used as a metaphor. And when it is a metaphor, we use an article A-R. Mother Teresa was the Messiah or Jesus for the poor. And even you say here, the poor, I'm not saying the poor people is dropped. So this is what is the usage of English.
So if the Grammarly software that allows or that asks you to add the, so we should go for
Yeah,
the
please,
origin.
please do that. Yeah, this
Sometimes it looks funny, but the
still,
still.
play safe. This is the best thing is to play safe to avoid any kind of embarrassment.
Professor Kidwai, over all these years, I have been learning all these things, and there has been a sort of enrichment, because I have also found that no language is innocent.
True.
Alright, apparently, and when you talk about a discourse, the apparent meaning may not be the real meaning very often.
Still.
Alright, so this is how we, basically when we talk about administration, we work as administration, this is the thing that we need to keep in mind. Whether in speech or in writing, for example, I will give you, right now I was traveling to a place and there was an auto wala, I said, how much would you take? अरे साहब आप तो रोजाना आते रहते हैं, आपका क्या पूछना है, आप तो बैठिए आप ऑटो में. And I sat in the auto, and auto wala, when we reached that place, उसने कहा कि 75 perhaps. I said, I pay only 40, and you said you can pay me as much as you wish. तो उन्होंने कहा साहब आप ऐसा थोड़ी करेंगे, मेरे को जितना देंगे उतना दे देंगे, इतना तो देना ही पड़ेगा, 60 रुपये तो लेता हूँ. So what I am talking about, that he said, innocence of the language, that is disappearing, and there are several factors for that.
True.
Yeah.
So my only request at the end would be, please think before you use language. Written, spoken, just have this magic formula in your mind. Speaking, where are you, what do you want, whom you are speaking, who is in front of you, how you are to say something, why are you saying it. This is for communication, the most important thing is clarity of mind. You should be clear in your mind what you want and how and why, isn't it? That's why we say business letter is only about 2 questions, what and why. All letters are based on, formal letters are based, what do you need and why do you need. And if there is a payment, then how you will pay. Right. Anything else? Any observations, questions?
Sir, I have a question. Though I'm a student of the engineering, we know the
Yes.
softwares and all this, but the use of the software in the language, particularly, and we are observing from our own childhood to our own child, the way they are being taught the English, the grammar has almost disappeared. Probably, does the language doesn't need any grammar anymore? The students know that they can write, but they don't know what they are writing. Even the engineering graduates who are coming now, they can't write an application. And the basics, so does the use of these softwares to teach the language, should we use or not? That may be a very debatable aspect in my opinion, because the language needs to be learned and that to be used correctly.
True.
Rather than the daily use basis. So even I don't discourage encourage it to use the abbreviation in the language.
Professor Kidwai, if
Yes.
you permit me, I would like
Yeah.
to intervene
Yeah, sure.
what he has said.
Yes, please go ahead.
Professor Khan, when we talk about these things, the language has traveled a long journey. Right from when we talk about the evolution or the development of English language, let us begin from Chaucer, Geoffrey Chaucer, and coming down to the present time. The whole language has undergone a transformation. For example, talking about the language of WhatsApp, what do you think? Is there any grammar in it? Or is there any grammar in anything that we talk about? And I tell you, perhaps Professor Kidwai would agree with me, except in the formal discourse, the language that we are making use of, within quote unquote, is not grammatical at all. So we are making, but then, my question is, are we putting the same questions for the use of the other languages also? Do we tend to be grammatical in those discourses? Again, I would refer to an article that published in the Times of India, or like in, let us say, some 3-4 months ago. And that article talked about the way you are talking about. We people talk about, we have not yet permitted flexibility in the discourse of English language. We need to permit that flexibility. You see, Indian English still continues to be very difficult in several senses. Alright, if you visit abroad, then the people have relaxed the norms. And this is how English language has survived, alright? And it has survived in the best way. Now the point is that when you want to give scope, what Professor Kidwai was talking about, but at the same time, despite all the changes, you have to have a model before you. Now which model? Alright, which model? Various Englishes, alright, you talk about Indian English, you talk about British English, you talk about American English, you talk about Canadian English, you can talk about African English and so on and so forth. Perhaps what he was trying to refer to was that let us as administrator, let us have a model so that people may appreciate, alright, that this